Hey, what happened? Hold up. I got my channel. Oh, wait a minute.
Go ahead. Get started.
Hey, guys. It's your girl, Sunny D. Welcome to tonight's show, guys. Y'all want to say hi?
What's going on, good people? You already know what it is. It's your boy Clint. We have a good politically charged show tonight.
Yes. What up, though? It's your boy Willie Stylez. I'm in the building.
Oh, you just gonna end it like that?
I'm tired, man. I just ran here.
You know what? Terrible. Well, guys, if you're watching right now, you're live with us either on Facebook or YouTube. And if you're catching the playback, you're on YouTube, Facebook Live, with our website, GFT Radio Show, on our blog site, blogtalkradio.com/GFT Radio, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all those all those, SoundCloud, everything. So you can find us there. As you can see, we are all wearing the merch. Willie got to see y'all 7 days. I got the Commander Cheeto, and Clint got all skin folk and kinfolk. If you want any of these shirts or any of the other merchandise that we have there, share our logos and all that stuff like that, go to teespring.com/stores/GFT Radio and cop that merch. If you buy the merch and you rock the merch, tag us. Go to our Facebook page, post it there, or hit us up on IG or one of our own personal web social media accounts. Let us know you rocking our wear, and we'll repost it and share it, and shout you out for supporting this podcast. What else? What else am I missing? Oh, like our Facebook page. Go to GFT Radio Show. You should already like it. If you're watching this, you should be on Facebook or YouTube. So you should either subscribe or like one of the two, or do both. Do everything. Subscribe to everything we got. Just pop us in Google, find us, like, subscribe, follow, all that jazz. But we got a great show lined up for y'all tonight. I believe Clint came up with this topic, so it's gonna be a great conversation. We do our political shows every once in a while. We we follow the political races, all the different presidential races and different types of political offices. We always talk about them. So we haven't done that in a while. So figure let's jump in, even though we've been surrounded by COVID-19. Let's have this conversation about political stuff. So Clint.
Yeah, well, that's basically the lead-in right there. I just wanted to, I think we've been so caught up in everything else that's going on, we forgot that, this is an election year.
Yeah.
Big election year. And when it's an election year like this, I also want people to focus in more on the local elections, what's going on in their own communities. No matter where you're at. What city you're in, what state, whatever. Being tuned to what's going on. Because, with this, y'all was talking in the group chat before we got on, a lot of this with the COVID is it's distracting us from other important things that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
Not just politically, but news-wide, period. So, we have to, I think this generation, I was always saying, us, we need to be more politically in tune to what's going on, and you feel me? Because I always say the system's not with us; it's against us. So the only way to change that system is to learn that system and make it bend to our will. And we can't learn that system if we don't participate. So I know some people don't like participating in the political process. I feel as though we should. Especially locally, especially in our city in Trenton, where and I want to interview the lady to where it's a lot going on.
Oh yeah.
So if you haven't heard, it made national news. One of our councilwomen, Councilwoman Robin Vaughn, she had a altercation with the mayor and a couple other people on a phone call, on a conference call. To me, I felt like she was provoked.
Yeah, I caught that.
I felt like she was provoked. Yeah, they called her an idiot. They told her said she was acting childish. Yeah, and all that type of stuff. And and if you listen to the video, to the audio of it, she started off really. She was talking about what was going on. She really wasn't straying off. They cut her off. blase blah. She called him a pedophile, the mayor pedophile, homosexual, all types of stuff. You know what I mean? Did she go a little overboard? Someone may say yes. But I feel like she was provoked. They're asking for her to resign. They're trying to take her job. Me, I don't feel like she should resign. Me, I feel like if she resigns, the mayor should resign as well.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because he's just as culpable in this situation. He's just as at fault.
Mhm.
But this is one of the, I always say, you get what you ask for. And in our city, you know what I mean, the like the lack of people who are involved or even go out to vote. Now I mean, like Sonny, we talked on this show plenty of times because we've been doing this for some years now. That
Yeah.
through quite a few local elections, like the turnout has been horrible,
Yeah.
horrible. You talking about with a city of uh, uh, 85,000 to 100,000 people, and sometimes like 2,000 go out to vote. You know what I mean? For the mayor, for the city council, all that. So
Yeah, they
like,
don't vote for anything and then they complain. Like, and that's the thing. Like we talked about this on many voting shows, how people don't think that their vote counts, and they
hmm
say that a lot in the presidential election. You know, that type of thing, and they miss the fact that the city elections are a direct reflect for them. Like it directly impacts
yeah,
them, and they miss that. Like even like okay, so say if you don't want to vote for president, you feel like that's not going to affect you, it would be beneficial for you to vote within your city election. Not that I should say you vote, period. But if you don't vote and you don't want to vote for presidents and stuff like that, then you should be voting for your city officials because those are the ones that are making the direct effects in your within your city.
yeah. I mean, your council people, your mayors, your
Yeah,
Right.
sheriffs,
Yeah.
all of
yeah,
that stuff. Now, I mean, that directly, I mean, involves you because those people are involved in who the police chief is. So you have issues, you know what I mean, with the police and how they're run. So think you may want somebody in office who are more geared to, know what I mean, the people. Know what I mean?
yeah,
So like, know what I mean, why if you don't vote for that person, you let somebody else come in who want to put that hammer down and want the police to police the neighborhood heavy, you're partly at fault for that because you didn't participate in putting somebody in office who would have been against that.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like so you have to take some responsibility too. And you know, when it comes to that situation right there, it's like I know a lot of people in the city is like, man, we don't even want that man to be the mayor.
But
Like,
they didn't even
why
vote.
is he the mayor? Exactly. But you
So
didn't go
you
out.
can't like I
You
know
can't
I
say
heard that.
nothing. You can't
Yeah, I
say
heard that with a
nothing.
lot of state workers about our former governor. They didn't like him.
Okay.
But when you ask the question, did you vote? They're like, no. Like you're a state worker.
Mm-mm.
What do you mean you didn't vote for the governor? Like he directly affects our jobs. Like y'all mad about like they bitch about days off and all this extra stuff. And even now, like with Murphy talking about hazard pay and stuff like that. And it's like when you have that conversation, like, what did you vote? Like he's dumb as rocks or he blah blah blah. His whole this that, and third. But did you vote? No. Like we say this on every show that we have. If you don't vote, you don't get the right to bitch your mom.
hmm
Like
And
you should have nothing to say because the first thing out of somebody's mouth is did you vote? And you say no. What does it matter to you? Because obviously you didn't care enough to vote. So why should you say something now?
but see, I want to clarify my stance on voting too, though. See, I don't want you to go out there and just to vote and you don't know what the hell you're voting for
Yeah,
or know what you're doing. Because then if you do that, you know what I mean, you just as much as part of the problem as somebody who don't vote.
yeah. That's
Now,
why you got to research
or who
it.
don't. Yeah, so like you have to have some type of, I mean, I like informed voters. You know what I mean? Know what's
Yeah.
going on. Educate. Don't go in there just voting because somebody tell you to vote Democrat because Democrat such and such or Republican such and such. Who's to say that person is helping your situation. You feel
Exactly.
me? You know what I mean? So just because a whole, you know what I mean, you gotta look out, you got, you know what I mean, help yourself out and understand what's going on, know who you want to vote for. That's why I don't play the
Exactly.
party I don't play the party politics. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean, I don't let either one sway me. I don't let the name sway me. Republican this or Democrat. You know what I mean? That's not going to influence me. What party your affiliation is not going to influence me to vote for you or not to vote for you. You understand? It's just I want to know what you stand for. I want to know your policies. You know what I mean? Or how what you got going on that can help me or affect me in my daily life. You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly. So like I don't want just people going in there just to vote. You know what I mean? It don't take much to not.
Yeah, the thing is, it doesn't take much to get informed when it comes to all the information that's out there. There's plenty of summaries that talk about, prevalent issues, that talk about candidate platforms, that talk about candidate history. If you really, just need a primer on what's on the ballot, as well as who each of those candidates are when it comes to candidate voting, then there's plenty of reference points out there on either online or even on your way to the poll. I mean, a lot of times you'll find pamphlets and brochures that discuss, what's on the ballot, and, because most of these political, or not political action groups, but grassroots action groups will have that information available because they want to make sure that they have informed voters walking in the polls.
Yeah. I think that like I know with city elections, we talked about this before on many of our podcasts when we talk about politics, is I know within Trenton, it's not really like, how you see the presidential thing is all over the news, it's everywhere and stuff like that. People are so used to it being in your face that you don't really have to go and look for stuff. And then within the city of Trenton, you don't really start seeing, like, as far as like not a loud uproar, but like a loud presence of the political thing, what you have like, mayors and miscellaneous stuff like that, until it's closer to election. Like, it could have already started at one point and you were not paying attention and you caught it at the tail end. And you don't know who's running what, who's what, where, and why. You see the signs, you don't really pay attention to them and stuff like that. So I think that people need to be mindful of, when you start the different terms of election process, or I'm probably wording it wrong, but like when these things come up, like a mayoral seat comes up, or a councilman seat comes up, or stuff like that, or a councilwoman seat, you kind of gotta like research it yourself. Okay, so this is up, who's trying to get into the spot. You have to kind of be more mindful and look it up yourself, because it's not really out there for us unless it's at the tail end of the situation. Like, how the presidential debate or the presidential candidacy runs for a while. So you can catch up from the beginning, who started running, when they started running, you get it all. Like, it's going on as it goes. Where the city elections is kind of like not unless that candidate has big money, you won't really know who's who until almost the end of it or closer to election. So we have to be more responsible as voting people, or registered voters, to kind of get that information ourselves when these seats come up, being very mindful within our communities to what is what and who we're looking for. And I know with Trenton and a lot of other cities, it's and even presidential things, it's popularity. And popularity doesn't doesn't get people too far. Half the time, its popularity is some corruption or some type of shenanigans behind it. So you can't always go with the popular vote. You just have to be informed of yourself. And
sometimes, to be honest with you, it's just strictly popularity.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know what I mean? It really ain't. It's the popularity and the apathy of the citizens of the city. To be quite honest with you,
Yeah.
Because the fact, like you're 100% right when you say we have to take it upon ourselves to go look. Because I remember bringing up, I can't remember the exact quote right now, but the comedian was saying, basically, you know what I mean, we get, you know what I mean, what we got representing us is really who we are.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when we look at our lead officials, they're just a reflection of the city. So if we're not happy with our officials, that's on us. You know what I mean? As the residents of this city. So like we have to correct that. Now I mean, we keep wanting. I know people always want to hold the officials' feet to the fire,
right,
or what have you. But like, how can you hold their feet to the fire when? Nah, I mean, like you know.
You have no idea about that
set
person.
The plate. Yeah, but you set the plate, or you set the stage for them to be able to do what they do because, you know what I mean, you're not involved. You know what I mean? So they got, when you give somebody free reign to do whatever they want to do because they know the people, they can tell the people anything because the people really not going to do the research for most of us. You know what I mean? Or they're just not going to care. Like me and my boy was talking the other day. We was here talking, and we were specifically talking about the video the audio with the situation with Councilwoman Robin Vaughn, and you know he was upset. You know what I mean? He was like, man, you feel me? Dude shouldn't even be mayor, bro. He shouldn't even be mayor. Like he don't represent us. You know what I mean? He don't represent us. He don't represent the city as a whole. So how did he even become mayor? And he really had to look at himself like, damn, I'm part of the problem. I ain't vote. You know what I mean? So that's how he felt. So I'm like, yeah, bro. I'm like, and so you feel that way and everybody else feel that way. You feel me? And it don't take much to really get involved. You know, he was like, bro, I ain't got you know what I mean? I got to go back to school, learn some stuff. I'm like, bro, you don't have to go back to school to learn all that stuff. Like Willie was saying, you know what I mean? Like, I think people get so scared, not scared in a bad way, like anxious, because it's pressure. Intimidated. Yeah, intimidated by the situation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's important, but bro, it ain't that deep.
Yeah.
You know, it's deep, but it ain't as deep as you want.
But that's the problem because when you have conversations, I remember we talked on a podcast before, and I had gotten to it with one of my friends because we were having a conversation on Facebook, and it's different when you have a conversation with your friend and like you talking about like when I understand what he's saying because when you have conversations like that, like I said, the conversation I had with my friend, we got to it on Facebook. He was going to school, he got his little degree or whatever, and he was like, "Well, I got degrees and I know," and I'm like, "Yeah, you could be smart and dumb at the same time." And for you to sit there and tell me that because I don't have the degrees that you have, that the fact that I'm explaining to you how I feel about this political climate or whatever the case was, whatever case was in that conversation, you try to degrade me because I don't have the book knowledge that you have. Not the fact that I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just that I can't think for myself because I'm not as educated as you. So I think that's the intimidation of people when you have that conversation with some people and then they pull, and that's one thing I don't like. So when you have a disagreement with people, that's one thing we say on the podcast about being real grown to agree to disagree. When we have a conversation, I'm not going to be on the same page as you. I may not know as much as you. Doesn't mean that my points aren't valid or that I'm going to feel like I got to belittle you to make myself feel valid. And that's what happens when you have these political conversations. Like for me, when I have a conversation with somebody and they talk about political stuff and then third, and the first thing I ask is, did you vote? That's where I'm at. It has nothing to do with your degrees, none of that shit. Because you could be a lawyer for all I know. Did you vote? Is the question. If you didn't vote, that's a problem for me. We really can't have a conversation because you didn't care enough to vote. So for me, that's the end of the conversation. Now, whether or not you have a degree or whatever the case may be, you feel like you need to be that much above me for me to make a valid point to you is the problem because that's more of the debate. Like that's what I've seen from my conversation. So because when you used to seeing somebody joke and laugh, like we joke and laugh all day. I can joke and laugh. I'm on TikTok all day and blah, blah, blah. And then people will see this podcast of us, having this conversation. Now, you and Willie may be having these conversations often. I don't have these often. So when I actually open my mouth and give my opinion, they're like, what? What? I'm like, yeah, no, I actually know something. Like, I'm not, like, I joke around all day, but we know stuff. But I think that's the mindset of people that you can't really, if they see you one way, they only see you that way.
And that's why I mentioned, you feel me? Because I take it further. Like when you say, did they vote? After when somebody tell me they did vote, you feel me? Like, why? Since you want to engage in this conversation and you want to tell me who you voted for, all right, now tell me why. You know what I mean? Or you are mad at me because I voted for such and such or I didn't vote. Tell me why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right. Tell me why. Because I can argue, you know what I mean? I can argue that say you and Willie are the candidates, right? For a position. And if I don't feel either one of you are qualified, I'm not going to vote for y'all. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not with the vote for the lesser of two evils. You feel me? Now I understand the situation. Oh, well, you can't complain. Well, yes, I can, because that was the I guess the point of the comedian or what he was saying. It was like, because I'm not responsible for who y'all voted in. You feel me? Y'all put them there. Those weren't my candidates. You know what I mean? Because in the political process, it ain't just supposed to be two parties. You know what I mean? It's more than that. But since y'all want to limit it, I'm not limiting myself to them two, and I don't want y'all to. You feel me? So I feel like I absolutely have my right to not vote for neither one of y'all without being shamed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I guess the question is how do we get more people to get involved in the voting, so that, or get involved in the knowledge of politics, so that it improves the voter turnout. You know what I mean? Like, how do we get them to be more active in this process in order to get them motivated to vote?
I think they have to be more educated on voting as a whole. So they need to, like, so if they're not voting, they need to be educated why it's important to vote, how it affects them, and like, so it's like they just need to be more educated in just the general purpose of voting and what's the reasons behind it, why they should vote and stuff like that. But I want to answer Chris's question. He says, so you are saying that just because someone doesn't vote, they're not allowed to voice their opinions or be or being a certain type of, I don't know what the rest of that comment is. But so to answer your question, I feel like if you don't vote, you really don't, like, you can complain all you want, like, because everybody complain about traffic, we complain about miscellaneous stuff. People can form an opinion about whatever they want to form an opinion about, but it's kind of for me, I'm not gonna say for everybody else on this panel or this conversation, but for me, if you don't vote, you can't give me a just reason as to why you didn't vote, or explain to me why you don't vote, and it just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like you really, if you can complain all you want, but what's the point? You didn't care enough to vote, because if it really bothers you, then you would want to affect change, or maybe you complaining about it now would make you vote at the next election and try to change it. But for me, I really can't. Not that I don't understand, but I just think it's a moot point to, like I said, I work for the state of New Jersey. People complain about the governor all the time, but they don't vote. He directly affects our jobs, but you don't vote.
Yeah.
And our taxes and homeowners and stuff like that, and you don't vote. How?
Right.
And then you complain about it. You're part of the problem. So
yeah, I think there's a crossroads there in the fact of, you know, I think there's a caring to vote, and then there's a understanding what you're voting for. There's these two polar opposites, right? And because I get your point that if a person just generally doesn't care to vote, doesn't want to be a part of the solution or part of the change, that it becomes, like you said, almost a moot point, because it's like, if you're not going to participate, then, you know, don't complain about the situation because you're not doing anything about it. But then there's the other side of it of, you know, like you said, you know, if you don't agree with either choice, you know, because we have party politics, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are only given two choices or two options to vote for in a lot of situations. And you may feel like, hey, I don't agree with either, and I don't want to put my support behind either.
Mm-hmm.
And he says,
and what Chris said, but even when people
complain,
vote,
so why would I want to listen if they voted for that person to be in, and they still,
and if they voted for that person, like
yeah,
Trump,
exactly,
like Trump.
I mean, that's like a lot of Trump supporters.
Trump is the key thing. You know how many conversations I had with people in the office about Trump and how they was voting for him and this, that, and the third, and then they complain. It's like, well, listen, you can, like, and I say everybody has opinions. Everybody can complain, bitch, and moan about whatever they so choose. They can do whatever you want. But when like Trump particular, Commander Cheeto in particular, people voted for him and then they complain about some of the stuff that he's doing. You picked this dude. The same way if people complain about Obama. If you voted for Obama, you picked him. You didn't take, like, so at the end of the day, half the candidates are not going to do everything that we want them to do. Whatever our ideal is and what they should be doing, they may not do everything that we want them to do. So we're going to complain about certain things. We're going to complain about certain things, like people complained about when all the stuff was happening between these black people getting killed, and they felt like Obama wasn't doing enough. People complaining about Obamacare, even though you didn't have health insurance before. People are always going to complain about something, whether they voted or not. So to your point, yeah, you shouldn't listen to him either way. Like whoever you vote for, you have to take ownership of you voted for him. So if I voted for Obama or I voted for Trump and he doing some fuck shit, I voted for him. I can complain all I want, but at the end of the day, did you vote for him? Yeah, dummy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes some people don't realize what they're voting for. I mean, I remember having a conversation.
You got people that eeny, meeny, miny, mo went out this motherfucker, and then you get who you get, and you're like, oh, what they doing craziness? You picked them.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a guy who, during the first Trump election, when we had the conversation about who was a better candidate or what was a better platform, and I believe at this time we were already in the primaries, and was discussing the choices between Hillary and Trump, and so his biggest thing was he didn't like Hillary for various reasons. Yeah. One reason that did resonate with me was, what was it called? Prison reform, or the votes that her husband did, and then there was a few things that were just his either his opinion or the opinion of the Republican Party and things that they were putting out there, and I think that his biggest issues caused him to feel like he needed to put his support behind the Republican Party. So he felt like the Republican Party was Hey Brittany. He felt like the Republican Party was the better choice. He didn't feel like Trump was the better choice. He felt like the Republican Party was the better choice. So he put his support behind the Republican Party. Now
the Republican Party don't like Trump.
At this point, he's regretting the whole Trump decision because Trump became his decision. And it's like a lot of people do that, especially conservatives, especially people who have religious reasons why, about, how they make their voting choices, because they'll put their support behind the conservative vote, irregardless to who's the candidate, right? So they end up with complaints because they're like, hey, I voted for, this platform or this group of politicians, but I ended up with this candidate who's now.
Yeah, that proves current point. It doesn't matter what political side they're on. You vote for who you vote for. Like sometimes you just can't pick a political party. You have to pick who's best for you, and you have to, like I said, if you pick somebody, like if I choose something and I don't like it, I chose it. I picked it.
Right.
Like if I choose to paint my house pink, I don't like it. I fucking painted it pink. I gotta take ownership that I did it.
But that's the corner they back us into with this party system. It's not just black and white. You vote for who you get. You know what I mean? It's not really that black and white, especially for people who are voting on a platform or who are voting for a political party that's going to support their morals, or that's going to support their agendas. And I think that's what it boils down to. Is like you have these people who want a political agenda pushed, but then they get stuck with a candidate that they may not like or they may not fully support, but they like the platform. So I think allowing them to voice their opinions, voice their disdain or their disregard for that candidate, I think is fine, because I think you do get pigeonholed because you're stuck on the greater good or the greater good for you, but you have this evil that's on the side that you're like, I don't like this. I mean, that happens to us, that people that don't that don't vote Republican, who vote Democrat, who say, you know what, I don't like the Republican agenda, but I'm stuck with this candidate. Like right now, I'm in that position because I don't like Trump as a candidate. I don't like the Republican Party as a party. I prefer some of the initiatives that the Democrats are doing. I don't like the Democratic Party, but and I definitely don't like Joe Biden. So I have a lot that I'm fighting against. You know, I got 3 things that I don't like, and 1 thing that I do. But I gotta go.
Then the people you got on the ballot aren't all that great anyway. Like you look at the people that's on the ballot, and it's just sucky. Like it's just a bunch of.
And that's my point when it comes to a lot of the people that's on our ballot. That's on our ballot is our fault because of our ignorance as a collective. So we allow these people, like, you know what I mean, because it's not a 2-party system. You know what I mean? We've allowed them to tell us it's a 2-party system because of our ignorance, because we don't educate ourselves enough to know, you know what I mean, to know better. To me, I relate this to like a relationship, to when we was having our relationship conversations. Most of us don't know what we want out of a relationship because we don't know ourselves.
Right.
You feel me? So the fear that a lot of people have going into the political arena or trying to vote for something is they don't know. You feel me? They don't know how stuff work because they've been told how to live. You got to think about it. In our communities, we've been told how to live. We talked about it plenty of times on the show. We don't know really where our food comes from. We don't know, I mean, how the property work, you know what I mean, within the city, the land ownership. We don't know none of that. So when it comes to all that stuff, it is important when you talk about politics. So if you don't know none of that stuff, when you go into the voting booth, you don't know what you're voting for.
Yeah, because then you go there and you see the ballot with a bunch of people on it.
Yeah, because you don't know what your best interests are. So how do you know when to look for them?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like if you don't know what your best interests are, how you gonna know what to look for in a partner? You know what I mean. So it's the same. It's the same thing when it comes to politics. You know what I mean. So like we gotta. It really comes down to knowing what we want and what we need. That's why we say we should always have a black agenda. That's why I always rock. Y'all know I always rock with the Black Panther Party, because at least when they came to the, you know what I mean, it was the Black Panther political party because they had an agenda. You know what I mean? They for black people and what they wanted in the cities. You feel me? We don't have that no more. We don't even on a mass even participate in that type of, you know what I mean, functioning anymore. You know what I mean? We're not even motivated to do so.
Yeah.
Well, so what's your thoughts on compulsory voting, whereas instead of it being a fully voluntary system, it becomes a mandatory system where, you know, voting becomes a civic duty versus just a civic right?
Nah, because like I said, Willie, and I said on plenty of shows, with all that being said that I just said, I still don't believe everybody should have the right to vote. If you don't know what you're voting for, you're just as much as part of the problem. Like if I go, like I always tell the story about the first time I voted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I went in there, you feel me? My home, when I turned 18, I'm a vote. Black people died for us to vote. My ancestors died. My great grandma, she get up, she 80 something years old. She marched herself around here to go vote at this community. I'm gonna go vote. You feel me? Grandma vote Democrat. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna vote Democrat. Grandma said vote Democrat. I'm gonna vote Democrat. I go in that booth and I just hit Democrat all the way down. And I'm looking at these names in this booth.
And you don't know none of them.
I don't know none of these names. I don't know. I don't. At the time, it was like freeholder.
All did that though. I think we all did that at that age.
I was like, what the hell does a freeholder do? I didn't even know what a freeholder did. But all right, I'm going. He's Democrat. I'm voting for him. I walked outside of that. I felt so stupid. Like, I don't even know what the fuck I just did. Yeah. You feel me? Know what I mean? So like, how can I say I helped anything?
Yeah, but I think we all did that at 18, 19. We didn't know. Like, I think all of us got to the point where we started off that way. And eventually we had to really learn what the hell we were doing because you don't know. Right. You just happy to vote. You skipping it off 18. Bitch, I can vote. I'm a vote. A lot of people did that with Obama. They turned 18, a black president, Obama.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Everybody on the Obama ticket. We going for every last one of them. Done.
People still voting blind. They really don't know. Most black folks don't study politics. At least not most black folks I've been around. Mm-hmm. All they know is Democrat. Democrat is better. Republican is for the white folks.
And then we talked about that on the show before about how black folks originally were Republicans.
Mm-hmm. I look at it like this. Either way, it depends on what money bracket you're in. You're going to get screwed. Mm-hmm. If you're in that mid to lower class bracket, that's where you're going to get screwed. And they target those people in that area. They start coming to churches in the neighborhood and, trying to drum up, support and votes. And as soon as they get in the office, they forget about us.
Right. They come into the church.
Yeah, we take on the mentality like, fuck them. We're going to lose anyway. I mean, I do vote. I'm not going to say I do all my background on them. I do my background for the most of them. I need to start more as far as city government. Cause
Definitely. That's the most important thing, really, is your municipal, your county, your state, elections, all of those elections and those ballots that, come out for things such as your proposals or your local ordinances and funding for different social programs in your area. That's the most important thing.
Everything.
On.
So what do y'all think about, I know it's kind of a little off topic, but the census is going around. And I know a lot of people, we haven't really talked about that on the show, but a lot of people feel a way about completing the census.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of I consider conspiracy theories about it. Some people feel like it's the truth, that it's real. A lot of people feel like it's a tracking mechanism. A lot of people feel like it's a way for the government to kind of rearrange funding in a negative way, or they feel like there's some other ulterior motives like immigration, and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of negative viewpoints of the census. I look at it as what it is in terms of the use for having its uses for funding certain municipalities and states based on the size, right? Because that's the most important factor in a lot of the government funding that comes down, as well as it allows some states to also gauge how much funding they need to give to certain cities. So if your city is a part of a state that utilizes the census as a way of how it funds your schools, your municipal programs, your parks, your recreation, things of that nature, you need to have the counts correct in your city in order for the state to understand how to pass that funding to different counties and different cities.
Because I don't think a lot of people fill it out. I know I did mine. Like it took at first I was like, I ain't doing this, and like I haven't done one in forever. And then maybe
10 years.
Yeah,
so it comes out once every 10 years.
Oh well, yeah. 10 years ago, I don't think I did it. Okay. I don't think I did it. Like I think this was my first year actually doing. Like I never remember doing it. Like I remember my sister had a job where she walked around and did it, and I remember not doing it then. And I had a conversation with somebody about it, and like you said, a couple of conspiracies, government way to attract us, blah blah blah, this and that thing. And when they tell you when you fill it out, it's about funding for your direct community and what they need to do for different services, like that. And then even like I said, I never done it, so this is my first year doing it, and it was like going through, like I did it online. And like now you can do it through Facebook and everything. Like make it really easy. So you just go in there. You don't have to you put your name and stuff on there, or you could put they're not really. I don't think they're really checking for the name. Because I did my household and I didn't put my kid's name. I just put kid 1, kid 2,
right,
their ages and shit like that. Like I think my name was the only name that I actually gave, but I didn't give my kids' names. pretty sure they could find it. But I was like, kid 1, kid 2, this is a boy, it's a girl, this is the ages, blah blah blah. But
What'd you say, dog?
I said I was a census worker in the last one. To me, it's a bunch of garbage because if they were using the money for funding, like for schools and stuff, let's use that as an example. I know 5 schools in my area alone that have closed. Before they were closed, they were running short of toilet paper.
wow.
You know, things like that, old books. They giving the money to the suburbs, computers, and all of that. You don't have all of that in the inner city too much. Very few schools have computers for the students. My daughter had left Michigan and came back, and she had 6 months. No, they gave her 3 weeks to do 6 months worth of work. They gave her a computer to catch back up, to take home. Now, had she had been in Detroit, she'd have never got that. She'd have just had to go to summer school or wait till next year. All that money funding for schools and stuff, that's garbage. These schools should never be closed. One, because of this quote unquote census money,
Mm-hmm.
the lottery. You know how much money go through the lottery every day? And that's supposed to be partially for the school system. They're supposed to have actually supposed to be a hybrid
school fund, right? Yeah.
Huh?
So yeah, part here in Michigan, part of the lottery is for the school fund. Yep.
They care more about which we do need our parks, stuff like that to keep them clean. But they care more about that or building up downtown than they do, these kids in school.
Mm-hmm.
They put more money downtown in the last 5 to 10 years than anything. You still got old houses that need to be torn down where young girls or women are getting raped and molested and killed and stuff like that. If they put the money where it's supposed to be, we would have a lot less problems and issues in the neighborhoods.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion.
But do you think that's part of people not in the neighborhood not filling out the census?
Well, okay, let's say if we don't use the census, you still got the money from the lotteries and stuff that they can put into these neighborhoods.
Yeah.
They did just do the park around the corner. I think it was last year before last. It looked so bad for 20 years. They done redid it, put a basketball court, walking track. It really looks nice. When I was growing up, the city used to have people come up there that work for the city to do activities with us. We would make those, them little keychain things out of the
string. That's how the city of Trent, we used to have little things at the park. We used to have a lot of stuff.
We had all
have that no more.
Corner park up for me, but they don't do that. They care more about, I don't want to sound racist or nothing, but care more about the white people out in the suburbs, or I'm not gonna say white people, the middle to upper class.
Right. See, it's a class thing. It's not even race anymore, really. In that situation, it's a class.
Right.
You fall into class lines at this point.
I just think they could do better. So to me, the census, they just want to know where we are and who we are, what race we are.
I think one thing we have to keep in mind too, though, because I live in the same city that Dog does. The problem I think there is a lot of the money that did come down was mismanaged. It's pure and simple mismanagement. I was actually in the city government, not in government, but in working in IT in the city government about 15 years ago, and I was able to work on financial systems, doing financial system upgrades, and so I worked with a lot of the controllers and the accountants in those areas. money there was just highly mismanaged. I mean, there were situations where they were getting book money. I forgot how much it was, but there was millions of dollars in book money that should have been paying for books in the city of Detroit, in the libraries and then in the schools. And a lot of that money was being funneled to other things. They were taking that money and moving it around to other programs, and then some people was just out and out stealing it. I mean, there was a guy who was caught
vacations and taking their mistresses on.
Exactly. Yeah, there was a guy that was caught, taking the money and reallocating it to lawn equipment, and it turns out he was literally running a landscaping business with all the lawn equipment.
Wow.
He was funding his own business, with city money that should have been allocated to the schools. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. Then the other problem is that when it comes to, unfortunately, once again, not only the same city, but I lived in the same neighborhood as dog. The neighborhood where he's talking about, it's not even a what would you call an impoverished neighborhood. It just falls in that gray area for middle class, working class, a lot of working class families, but the population in that area dropped so dramatically. Once again, working in different volunteer situations there, going into schools where half the school is empty. And not only just empty, it's ran down. I mean, like walking into a classroom and there's water dripping out the ceiling. There's, buildings. I mean, the building where I went to elementary school was literally sinking into the ground. They had to tear it down because it was that dangerous that it was literally sinking into the ground. It was horrible. But I think that, that once again comes from, poor use of funding, poor use of resources, and a lot of reform being needed in these, local governments, or even state governments where they're making these decisions because, back to Dog's point though, is that a lot more of the funding goes to the suburbs because they're considered
privileged.
Not only just privileged, they have a higher what they call graduation rates. They have the higher this and the higher that. These statistics, right? They use these statistics against us, and the problem is it's because they have better schools, they have better classroom situations. The kids are not under stressed. They have, like you said, they're more privileged situations, but they give them more funding because they'll consider it, a better investment in the school systems across the state.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to switch gears real quick because it's almost. It's almost 11. I wanted to ask y'all about. It's still about politics. I wanted to get Dog opinion on it. I was trying to share my screen, but
You sure?
Yeah. It's about that bill HR 6666. It's House resolution. Yeah. Okay, I'm just about to read some of it. I was trying to share my screen. I couldn't do it. It's basically to authorize the Secretary of Health and Human Services to award grants to eligible entities to conduct diagnostic testing for COVID-19 and related activities such as contact tracing through mobile health units and as necessary at individuals' residence and for other purposes. A bill to authorize the Secretary to work. Okay. Now to trace someone's got mobile health units as a necessary test individual. Permissible uses of funds. A grant recipient under this section may use the funds in support of the activities described in subsection A to hire, train, compensate, and pay the expenses of individuals and to purchase personal protective equipment and other supplies. Priority. In selecting grant recipients under this section, the Secretary shall give priority to applicants proposing to conduct activities funded under this section in hotspots and medically underserved communities. Basically, the hood, the ghetto. You know what I mean? Applicants that agree in hiring individuals to carry out activities under this section to hire, this is important, to hire residents of the area or community where the activities will primarily occur, with higher priority among applicants described in this paragraph given based on the percentage of individuals to be hired from such area or community. All right, so basically, you know what I mean, a couple things I want to ask, because Dog was just asking about the funds. They're asking for like, I think $100 billion for this for the first year. So my question is, where, with the economy, you know what I mean, where y'all get this $100 billion from? That's first. Secondly, check out and if y'all follow Reza Islam on IG or on YouTube, go check him out, because he broke it down perfectly. And I'm gonna kind of borrow from him real quick. Basically, what they did was, okay, they shut down everything, sent everybody home to quarantine, right? So now they're going to hire people. Yeah, there you go, right there. You know what I mean? They're going to hire people. You gonna be able to play it?
Oh, I can.
Or that's the GoFundMe.
This is the Go.
This is change.org. Yeah, okay, yeah. Everybody, I signed that personally too.
I'm on my phone, so I can't read it.
Yeah, so basically what it's doing is they sent everybody home. Everybody lose their jobs, right? So basically, especially in the inner city communities. So then they're going to tell them in order to they're going to do basically house to house tracing. So if you hear people call, they're going to hire people within the neighborhood to basically snitch or tell whoever that, oh, such and such may have it, or it may be an issue over here. So then they could come to your house and then quarantine you. You feel me? They could take your kids and all that.
But what qualifies them to even know if we have it or not?
They're going to hire somebody in the community to inform them.
The person that they do hire, say if this goes through,
yeah,
what qualifies them?
I guess
to
basically,
say, hey, this person has it or that person has it, and what gives them the right to
exactly
even go out and report it? You know, hell, he could be reporting us and doing
false reporting.
Exactly. For the money. For the money.
Oh, if they throw it out there, you're gonna have somebody out there doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot. But then you got to look at it like this: it's a lot. It's very common that people are sick and they don't get tested because they don't want to hear the bad news. And at the end of the day, and then on top of that, you got to look at it like this: this is sinus season. This is the change of seasons. You got rain one day, cold the next day, a summer day one day, and like today was a summer day / rainstorms in the middle of all throughout the day. So when you got that, like sinuses is on crazy, pollen is up, people have allergies, so you can actually see somebody going through an allergy situation, not necessarily a COVID-19 thing, and you think that they're got COVID-19. Now all hell breaks loose. You done informed on them, and all this aftermath comes over. So my question would be, what happens when they do that and it's non-founded?
Well,
the one thing I know about is the mobile tracking. I mentioned this in one of our past shows. This is an initiative that has been discussed and it's possibly in the works in integrating a tracking system within Android and iOS devices. So Apple and Google are working together to have a tracking system kind of built around contact tracing in terms of people you get into general vicinity of within, I think it's 30 feet of the person, and it tracks their device versus your device. And the way they're saying it, that there's a number that you're assigned, like an identification number. That identification number is transferred between the two devices. And then what happens is when you get your results back from a COVID test, you put your results in your phone to say, you know what, I have COVID. Then what it does is it automatically identifies all of the personal numbers, not phone numbers, not email addresses or anything, but it's supposed to be personal tracking numbers that were in your 30 foot range.
Like how Facebook does when you're next to somebody and all of a sudden they show up in your people you may know.
Exactly. So basically what it does is it automatically identifies those people within, you know, whatever the number of days it is that you may have possibly been infected, and then notifies their phones that they've been in contact with someone who's infected. It's supposed to not tell them who or when or how, but that they in whatever that scope of time is, they've been exposed to someone with that with a positive test result. In terms of the interaction between the people and then the notification, I have no problem with. But my problem is the tracking. The tracking information is based on dates, locations, times, and individuals. So that becomes a harvesting tool for the NSA, for the Chinese government, for anybody else who wants to track us and identify where we've been, how we got there, who we've been around, and it creates this perfect storm of problems and issues where people can be, you know, I mean, they've already been doing it, right? They've already been using your Facebook posts, you know, in terms of being able to get, you know, as your alibi. They've already been using your what they call it, your location information, your GPS location, in order to track where you've been and to be able to say, okay, yeah, you were possibly, you know, what's the word? It's like your digital DNA, right? And you're possibly in the vicinity of this crime, and you can now be tried for it. So now if somebody says, hey, this person robbed the bank, and your phone was within 30 feet of the bank, but you aren't a customer, you must be an accomplice to the bank robbery. Like, how what's going to stop them from doing that? What's going to stop them saying
that invasion of privacy?
Right. It's I mean, it's opt-in, quote unquote, but who reads their opt-ins on their phone, right? You get
that's the thing. Like we talked about that yesterday. We talked about that in business law, how you don't really pay attention to the fine print. Like you know, download the app, it's telling you it's going to access such and such all on your phone. Half of our apps, this is why you get Facebook and Instagram, that if you say something, is listening to you. So if I'm on my Google and Amazon looking for such and such, like I'm looking for earbuds. When I go on Facebook and Instagram, it's ads for earbuds and stuff. So people don't realize that all these apps that we have on our phone is tracking everything. It's tracking our Google search. It's tracking our voice stuff. Like that, they said about the Amazon thingy Echo? It's not just Amazon Echo. When you say stuff to it, it can play up to about 30 plus days of what you said to it or around it. It can play back what you've been saying around it, and people don't realize. I mean,
but even if you Google search something, you ever notice it'll pop up in your feed?
Oh yeah,
it'll pop up like I said, if I'm looking for shoes, DSW and every other shoe company, Shoe Dazzle, and everybody else is on Instagram, Facebook, and everything else. And it's like is so these things been doing what they've been doing. They got access to our location. They've been had access to our mic, our address, contact, all that, our email addresses, all those things. When you sign up for certain when you sign up to be on certain mailing lists, like I said, if you shop at DSW, you sign up to be on a mailing list. They selling your information to somebody else so they can send you information too. So you like we don't read the fine print, like especially when it comes to like something as simple as, you know how you log in, like also we log into the state website and we have this one thing that we can log into to get all our information. So when you log in, it has prompts you, and it says it's like a little box that pops up and say, hey, do you know blah blah blah, and then you type agree or cancel. If you cancel, you can't get further further than that first page. So people idly minded click on that continue, not realizing what they basically said yes to. It's a contract that you had to click yes or cancel, and you wasn't gonna go nowhere. If you click cancel, you wasn't going past that page. And so you click these things, not realizing what you're reading or not understanding what you're doing, and you're accepting a contract that what they just had you basically electronically sign, and now they're all in your business.
You know what? Back to piggybacking off of what Will was explaining. Okay, now what of us that already have our phones and our contract, and they decide to use this app and use it against us later on? Isn't that like gathering like evidence or doing a search without a warrant, and then they still try and use it against you, and you don't know anything about it, and you didn't agree to it?
Well, not necessarily, because all they have to do is subpoena the phone company.
Well, see, this is the thing. Is that
say if they do track you, say if some idiot want to go out and just infect people,
right?
And they say, okay, we're going to charge this guy. Well, how do you know he did this? Well, we got this app that tracks him down. We know what he did, but unbeknownst to him, he knew nothing about it. Ain't that kind of like entrapment? Or
well, we all have Google Maps or something like that on our phones that's tracking our moves either way.
Right, but I'm saying if they decided to take it to a level where we're going to charge this guy for going around people on purpose, and we track his phone calls, we know where he went, because whether y'all know it or not, which I'm probably sure y'all do, they know everything we're doing with this phone. Hell, I even heard that your smart TV, hell, they could look into your house through the TV.
Yeah.
They can't really do that.
They can do that with your laptop.
They can definitely.
I mean, if you got that camera on there,
but they can definitely do watching what you're watching patterns are, your timing patterns, the streaming content that you're watching, that kind of thing can be tracked to your smart TV. The biggest thing is that a lot of this stuff, like I said, a lot of it is about opt-in, right? And the thing is, people do not read the fine print. They just don't.
They just click past it and move on.
I'm trying to read this fine print. What is that you have highlighted? Because, like I said, I'm on my phone and I cannot see it with or without my glasses.
Talking about the trace system that Apple and Google are going to do, and they're saying right now the next phase is a system-level contact tracing system that will work across iOS and Android devices on an opt-in basis. So that opt-in is just you accepting this next update or this next app integration, or even just a code change in their operating system.
Basically,
they sign a contract, but I think people forget is that they sign a contract when they get their phone.
Everything. Everywhere you go, even if you don't do a search, it's because of your acceptance of using Android is to be tracked by your location.
But that's all phones. Like that's all phones. When you sign that contract, when you go purchase your phone,
it's not even purchasing your phone. No, don't even think about it purchasing your phone. It has nothing to do with even purchasing a phone. When you hand the phone to your kid, and as soon as your kid opens that phone and sets it up, first thing it says is, do you accept the terms and conditions of using Android? As soon as they say yes, because that's the only way they're going to use the phone, they're allowing a certain set of things to be done on that phone. They're allowing a certain set of things to be tracked, a certain set of information to be called and removed from that phone. Some of the data has things to do with the way that they use the phone, the apps they use.
All the pictures have date and time stamps and location stamps.
If they turn on location, you turn on location on your kid's phone to track your kid. Guess who else is tracking your kid? Google, because Google needs that location data in order to make their mobile apps more rich. They take that same data and they sell it to an advertiser who wants to target in a certain area. That's what opt-in means. When you opt into something, it's nothing about sign. You don't sign anything. You don't read anything special, and they hand you something special and say, look, this is what this said. They don't do any of that. Opt-in means you just simply open a box and say, you know what, I want to own this device. You've just opted into the terms and conditions to something. And if you
So
don't,
basically, they're forcing you to do what they want if you want to use their service or
Yeah,
their
and that's
device.
like downloading apps. The apps tell you they're gonna access XYZ on your phone.
No, you can't get away with anything, Mariah. You're right, 100% right.
Like when you download, like look at Facebook apps, like it tells you what it has, what you've allowed it to access. Your contacts, your images, like we upload our pictures like it's nothing. But realizing that we're getting access to our whole gallery. Our gallery has our photos. Our photos have time and date stamps and location stamps. We're not like you don't. We talked about that in business law, like the little things that you don't even think of. Like every app, if you go through the apps on your phone, they have access to different things on your phone. Location is one of them.
Right.
They all want to know your location. So, like I said, you enter these. Like I said, you unknowingly enter these contracts without realizing it.
Right, exactly.
Because you're downloading an app or software.
And I mean some of the things that Google and Apple have done to try to circumvent some of that ignorance is to make those permissions more prevalent when you first download and install those apps. But it still comes down to doing your due diligence, because if you don't want to be tracked, if you don't want certain information to get out there, if you don't want certain, I mean, think about this. Think about how many people are currently using TikTok, right? TikTok is one of the top apps.
Queen TikTok.
TikTok, the program that everybody's been using to dance and to have fun all during this quarantine. I believe it's up into the millions of 467 million. Oh, that's just in India. My bad. That's just India. I can't find it at the exact moment, but they're currently in the hundreds of millions of users, right? And the one thing that a lot of people don't realize, TikTok is owned by a Chinese company that is required by Chinese law to give user data to the Chinese government. All user data, not just Chinese people, all people, all over the world. So all of your user data, your videos, your location information, your phone number. I believe TikTok uses your phone, your camera.
Yeah, they keep asking me. They keep asking me to add my number to it, and I don't.
Yeah, and if you allow it to go into your contacts, it has all your contact data too.
Yeah.
So TikTok, through its terms and conditions, its T&Cs. If you see that ever, T&Cs, you're opt-in. You're allowing the Chinese government, by proxy of TikTok, the company, to have access to this information.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the things are asking for your direct phone number. Like I know somebody sent me a message, which I never check the messages on TikTok. I just delete them anyway. But they basically said, "Oh, you can't reply unless you add your number." Yeah, I'm good. Like you're asking for too much. Like you have to be mindful of what you share, and I think people are, like I said, we're in that, and it sucks because when you're a social person, like we have a podcast around, we're social people. We have to be social to promote and stuff like that. You're putting a lot of your information out there, whether you want to or not, because most of these sites ask for email, phone number, location, all this extra here kind of stuff, and it's like you share it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that you can't share it. Just be very mindful that you're sharing your information and what the repercussions of that possibly could be.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is a lot of people just don't do not even just about doing a due diligence, just being smart about what they're sharing, because some of the information is not even necessary. It's just information that they would like to have, and you don't really need to give. Like you said, you can still use TikTok. You don't have to give them access to your phone number. You don't have to give them access to your contact list, but they would love to have it because they want to advertise to those people.
Yeah, because they want to link it to and that's what a lot of things do. They want to link it to your other social media. So like some stuff you can link it to your email, you can link it to your Facebook, your Twitter, and stuff like that. So you can do all those things. I think I linked mine to Instagram, but Instagram doesn't have my number, so I'm okay. Like you don't have it.
Yeah, I mean. But then there's websites out there that's tracking that information too. Anyway, I was notified about a website when I've already done this several times where I've had my personal information removed from websites. but there's a website that was tracking so much information. I mean, they literally had all of my addresses. They had all of my family member names. They had my phone numbers that I've had in the past. It even numbers that didn't belong to me but have been associated with me because of either I used them for work or I used them for different, what they call it, identifying information. And just the sheer amount of data, it was basically what they were doing is they're basically data dumping different databases out there that are publicly available, from being like things like job sites. They're getting information from public records from the cities and counties that publish this information. Hacks, a lot of information is gathered from hacking. So there's a lot of not hacking your computer, hacking big companies that have been tracking you, or that have been in contact with you, or even you have contracts with that had nothing to do with them tracking your information or giving your information out, but they've been hacked and now their information has been stolen and now it's put out on the internet. So I think that a lot of people just don't realize that their information is even out there. I'm trying to find the name of the site, but definitely, it's one of those. Oh, here it is. Fast People Search. So, go on Fast People Search. I'm about to post it in the comments. Check for your information. You're going to check mine. Find out there. There's a lot of information. YouTube won't let me post it, but Facebook did. So go on our GFT Radio Facebook. You'll see the link out there for Fast People Search. And it's actually I think that's what I did wrong. I put the wrong. My bad, y'all. I put the wrong link. But the Fast People Search, it's ridiculously full of information about you, your family, your history. It's definitely a site that is going to be used by certain companies to pull your information, mail you, email you, call you. It's one of those data mining websites that just there's just a lot of information out there that's going to be exploited. So you definitely say it again.
No, I was just watching something the other day. Like, if you got any of these networks that's been breached, you feel me? Your data is completely out there.
Oh yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Yeah. It's not even you getting hacked. It's these big companies.
Yeah, like Twitter. There was another one that company that handled people. Oh man. I'm sorry. I was just watching it. They handled this people's personal information, and it got linked. I mean, it got hacked, and they basically sold their information. You know what I mean? It's a website. It's another website too, bro. To where
I just made this name up, right? Well, not made it up, just a basic name. And I mean, look, they got this guy's.
It's fastpeoplesearch.com because I couldn't find it.
Say it again.
I couldn't find that website. Let me look that.
Yeah, fastpeoplesearch.com. But they're not the only website. There's tons of these types of websites out there that track this kind of information. I mean, this guy just happens to be deceased, but this could have been a live person. I mean, 4 years ago, he was alive, and they were tracking all this information, all of his past addresses, his cell phone numbers, his nicknames and aliases, his relatives. These are all the people that he knows or possibly knows that are relatives of his. This information is pulled from, like you said, Clint, this could be from information from companies that you've done business with. This could be information that you've put out there, but this is some of the stuff that they are also pulling off your cell phones and selling it, because these companies are marketing companies. They give you free apps to entice you to download their app. So do your due diligence, read your terms and conditions. Don't give apps more permissions than they really need. I mean, if you're playing a video game, the app does not need access to your contact list. If you're playing, or if you're working on an app that's for let's just say maps, a maps app, it doesn't need access to your phone in order to make phone calls. I mean, there's a lot of apps that ask random stupid stuff in order to get access to your phone and be able to send your information out to its company. And then, like I said, in a situation like TikTok, it's sending your information out to a whole different government that maybe, maybe not directly tracking you, but hey, they're gathering enough information about, other countries and other people that they don't really need to have access to.
That's crazy.
Happy belated Mother's Day, honey.
Well, thank you.
Few people wish me happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there for sure.
I'm a motherfucker boy.
Happy Mother's Day to my mother. She actually commented on here, Miss Shelley Teller. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day to my mom. She had asked me to pick her up a pie by next month for something, but I was like, hey, you've been waiting on the pie for a little while because the pie place has been closed and they finally reopened, so I surprised her with the pie yesterday.
Oh, that was your little car over there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, I was over there visiting yesterday. Yep. Shout out to Sweet Potato Sensations here in Detroit. Definitely
Have I been pwned?
Bakeries in Detroit.
That was the name. It's called Have I Been Pwned?
Oh, Have I Been Pwned? Yes, that's a good one.
Have I Been Pwned? That lets you know if your information been hacked through
including passwords.
Yeah, email, password, all that stuff. You know what I mean? So let me because it's spelled a certain way.
Yeah, here I'm posting in the comments right now.
Posting it, yeah. Yep, there you go, right there. You know what I mean? So any email that you used anywhere, if that system has had a breach or whatever, you know what I mean, your password can be out there.
Wow.
Right.
Yep. All your passwords can be out there. So that's
now Google is also doing the thing, which is a little annoying because it constantly asks me every time I use it. But they if you use a Google Chrome, its password saving and syncing mechanism, it'll check your passwords for breaches that have happened over the last whatever 10, 15 years. It'll check your usernames and your passwords against those databases to see if any of them have been stolen, so that you'll know which ones to change. One of the big and by the way, we're in an after show for sure. Most of anybody hasn't noticed, we're definitely an after show talking about everything else other than just the legal stuff or the political stuff. But yeah, that one, their tool works as well if you're using it. I use it extensively just because there's a 1,000 websites with everybody wants to have their own password. So instead of me trying to remember all those 15,000 passwords, I'll let Google remember and I keep it moving. The fact that there's so many breaches that happen, I believe there's anywhere from 5 to 10 major breaches. This is not counting smaller sites, but 5 to 10 major hacks and breaches across business and across companies every year. That means you're talking hundreds of thousands to millions of people's information have been stolen and extracted and culled and put into the dark web or even on the regular web as well. It's important to know what the status of your accounts are. It's important to know if your information is out there. So definitely check out that Have I Been Pwned. It's just Have I Been Pwned.
I think I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, ASAP. Yeah.
I'm without the .coms because they're Google and YouTube don't like us posting a bunch of links, but we got to get them out there somehow.
Because from somebody who actually who had their identity stolen, and every time I file my tax and stuff like that, I got to use a special pen. You know what I mean? So like I got to do extra stuff to verify who I am because my identity was stolen. Like. Take this stuff serious, people. You know what I mean? Check these websites. Be careful, like y'all was saying earlier. Be careful of the information that y'all put out there. Be careful what y'all paying online, y'all buying online. You feel me? Because all that information getting ripped off of them sites. And then I remember they getting people like if you with the fake help desk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For some of these major companies as well. You know what I
They
mean?
talk
Like
about that on the news, talking about how people, not necessarily help desk, but people have they have these mirror websites. So you always have to be mindful to check the website you're logging into. So like you have
exactly.
like a mirror Facebook. The website address is very similar to Facebook, but if you're not paying attention, like one or two letters may be off.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you just see the Facebook logo and you think it's Facebook and it's a spoof of Facebook and you're logging in, giving them your password. And that's why I thought about it the other day because I was talking to somebody and we were talking about how like I have the Amazon app on my phone. You know how
Mm-hmm.
many people during the quarantine been order for Amazon that Amazon remember our bank cards and stuff like that, right? So I have the app on my phone. So if I lose my phone, I don't have a lock on my phone. You have access to like realize what apps you have on your phone. You have banking apps, you have different things that if you don't have a lock on your phone and they get access to your stuff, they can just go right in and get it.
And, and not
Especially if you have apps that remember your password.
right now, not only that, I'm about to say not even just a lock on your phone. You need to lock your apps. I mean,
Yeah.
most of your banking and financial apps use a fingerprint system or a
Yeah, I
additional
haven't
PIN
done any of those things.
code,
I need to.
additional PIN code, something that will also lock up any transactions or they need to purchase. Not one of the number one things that a lot of parents don't think about is if you give your kid a phone, you give your kid a tablet, require that there be a PIN number entered to make purchases. Require
Mine is
that
my thumbprint on my kids' things, on everything. My daughter PlayStation, on everything. You have to have my thumbprint to even process that. I think what I had to the kids, somebody kept mistakenly ordering. I don't know if it was kids, but somebody in my household kept mistakenly ordering movies that weren't being watched. And I would get an email saying, "Hey, thanks for ordering this movie." What?
right, yeah, yeah. I've
So
had
I had to
that.
put like a code. Yeah, so I put a code on it. It's not a code that I normally use, but it was a code that I put. So when you try to order a movie, you can't just go in and press a button and it's there. You have to do it. With my son, he's 7. He has an iPad. He's always had it. I got it to where he can't even download certain apps.
Yeah.
And when he downloads the apps to purchase anything, you have to have my thumbprint. And even to remember passwords on his iPad, my thumbprint is the key to you can put the password in, but to unlock it, or actually, you know what I'm saying, for the password and the login to be even entered, you have to have my thumbprint.
Right.
And,
right.
these are stuff that you know what I mean. Not just for kids and stuff, but adults
Yeah.
really gotta be in tune to it. Stop and don't take this stuff so lightly. You know what I mean? Because I know I ain't the only one who had their identity and all that shit stolen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I know other people, and you feel me. All it takes is one slip up. Don't think it can't happen to you. Don't think you,
Right.
you know what I mean, immune to it or whatever. You know what I mean? Trust and believe. Trust and believe. You know what I mean? They're gonna try to get you. You know what I mean? These hackers and like, I mean, they slick on these computers, man. These
Right.
scammers.
They are. That's
I
for
mean,
sure.
like they slick. And the more I'm learning, you feel me, and study on, I'm like, wow, I realize how much I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? How much I don't know, how easily they can just rip your information and do stuff without your knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, I got a question for y'all.
Yes, sir.
Since y'all been friends for a few years now, have y'all ever did like a meet and greet personally?
No, we've talked about it. We've definitely talked about, especially because I travel a lot. So we've talked about me coming out there and hanging out with the Trenton folk.
Mhm.
And but yeah, we've definitely discussed it.
I would actually prefer to come out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, all I said is all we got to do is set it up. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Set it
As
up.
long as I get a
Set it
babysitter,
up.
I'm out.
Yeah,
And I ain't trying to be out for 2 days. I'm trying to be out.
Yeah.
Where we going, Willie? About to turn up.
Yeah, because if you come out here, it's like we ain't hanging in Trenton, bro.
Yeah, we'll go to Philly all day.
Yeah,
we might have to go to New York or some shit.
Yeah.
But we ain't about to be in Trenton up in these.
Like I'll meet y'all. We'll meet at the halfway point, right?
No, but you know what? But you know what, Clint? If this whole COVID-19 go away by the summer, they do have. So I do attend certain events in Trenton. They usually, so the summer they have First Fridays, and then on Sundays they have Cigar Sundays.
Yeah, I've been there.
So those are two events. So like it's more for the older crowd. Now First Fridays is more of a family crowd. You can have they have certain themes. So like one First Friday may be a reggae night. The next First Friday may be a house music type of situation. Mm-hmm. And they have local artists and street vendors out on this street of land where this street where they block it off, and it's just like a little mini block party. So those are nice. Those if you came out and that was happening.
You know what? With all the events that go on around in and around Detroit in the summertime, we have a lot of events that go on.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. I don't go nowhere.
No, that's completely false.
I do a lot of stuff here in the city.
Huh?
I said that's completely false.
No, because I don't go. Now you talking to somebody that does not go everywhere in Trenton. When I go out somewhere, they when I went to that spot that I told you I was going to. People what the hell you doing there? I don't go anywhere.
Yeah,
I go limited places.
That's what I'm saying. If Willie the best places is out here. It's I guess how Dog said it's all surrounding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you feel me? Surrounded. We in the tri-state area, so we really ain't that far from New York.
Okay,
you know what
or
I mean?
Philly, South Street.
We definitely ain't that far from Philly. You feel me?
Now I noticed this one thing they have every Sunday in Detroit on the east side, Blues in the Park or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Man, when I say the turnout is nice, it's never no trouble. I mean, every Sunday.
That's how Cigar Sundays is.
I might ride out there with it because that, you know what I mean? That ain't no
come through. We always.
I might ride out there. You feel me?
Always got more room. We always having a good time out here in the city.
You know what I mean? For real, because that's the only place I really ain't been. It's I don't know if y'all.
Yeah, well, it's considered the Midwest. Yeah,
Midwest. Yeah, I never really that's the areas I want to start visiting. You know,
we consider
all over down south and out west.
Great Lake State. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been to Cleveland now. I don't know where that is, but I was in Cleveland.
Ohio.
Yeah, I've been to Ohio and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's only it'd be crazy. Ohio only 2 states over.
Yeah.
We connected to that. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So once we go through
3 hours from us, something like that. So yeah, it's not.
Yeah. But you know what? It's cool. But at night, it's
Detroit. What? I want to go to 8 Mile.
8 Mile.
You want to go where?
She said
8 Mile in Detroit.
All that.
Yeah, 8 Mile. 8 Mile is weak.
Yeah, ain't nothing going on 8 Mile.
I want to go.
It's just.
I want to go
to
the street. What's that? It's not really real, but I want to go to that club. I just did. What's the name? On
they got plenty
TikTok
of clubs though. Plenty of clubs. I don't go to them. I mean, sometimes it's so
old
bad
for a club.
at night.
I can't be at nobody's club because listen.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's so bad.
I'm might be 37. Nobody got time for nobody's club.
Yeah.
I put my buddy in my pocket and I have it already cocked and loaded when I go in the store. That's bad.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's about that time, good folks.
Yeah.
That's the name of my social club too, good folks.
I appreciate it.
Over here, you know I'm an old ass is tired.
So since Sonny over there, y'all, I guess me and Willie we'll close the shot. We'll wrap the show out.
Right.
So thank y'all for joining us. You know, we here every Monday, 10 p.m. From 10 p.m. to 11:30. The audio will be uploaded on BTR, correct?
Yep.
So now you can catch the replays on YouTube. They on Facebook Live. They're going to be on iTunes, Stitcher,
Google Play.
everywhere. Google Play, like we everywhere. Y'all can find us everywhere. Down at the bottom, all our links. You know, you can find me on my blog, kingstruth.com, on Twitter at eTrentonGroomy, and on King's Truth 609 on Instagram. So we thank y'all for joining us. We're gonna have some more shows. We want to do some more interviews with some local people, some people that's doing things. So we're gonna really be bringing y'all something new and exciting from here on out.
Yes,
Willie.
Sonny,
And of course,
information.
Yeah, of course, this is your girl Sunny. I am Sunny_D, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and TikTok. Check my blog out on reservedlyme.com. Willie?
All right, yep. You can get at me at Willie Stylez everywhere. That's IG, Twitter, TikTok. I'm Willie.Stylez on Snapchat. You can visit me on my blog at stylesradio.com or williestyles.info for all my links. Make sure you check us out on GFTradioshow.com or on your favorite social media sites. We're at GFT_radio on Twitter and Instagram. We're at GFT Radio on Facebook. If you like the new banner that shows all our links throughout the show, but make sure the most important link you check out is our. I'm off here. Sorry, it's right here.
You don't even know, and I'm the one tired.
Just like it do. It's right here, down here at the bottom. We always have new merchandise available. Always have great shirts. We got
I just made the shirt,
t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, everything. Teespring.com/stores/GFT Radio. Make sure you support us while we're supporting you. We do all types of different events throughout the year. So definitely be on the lookout for that once, quarantine is over. We'll be doing that stuff again. And then, like Clint said, definitely get at us on our on-demand shows 24/7, available on YouTube Live, on Facebook, from our live replays, Google Play Music, YouTube, Apple iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify. We're everywhere. So make sure y'all check us out every Monday night. We're also going to be doing Thursday night shows, so definitely check us out back here on Thursday, 10 p.m.
Join the conversation.
Make sure you come back and join us.
And make sure you send me that link for the clothing. I might have to invest.
All right. Yeah, we'll definitely send you the link.
Yep, for sure.
Make sure
y'all get back to us. And Clint, what we always say?
See y'all in 7 days.
Actually, we're going to see them less than 7 days.
That's the official shade.
Yeah, for the official show, 7 days.
Yeah. So this is the official show. So get at us.
I might have to change my joint to join the conversation.
Yeah,
join the conversation.
Yes.
I think we have a shirt that says "Join the conversation." Do we? No.
We're having a whole meeting right now.
I just made the other shirt in these tweets.
In these tweets, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I just made that. That's the latest addition to the Teespring.
Right.
All right, y'all.
Thanks again. Holla.
Deuces. Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Bye.
Love you, mama.
Appreciate you too, Shelly. Thank you.